Number 12, Ryan McDonough to New York. On June 30th, 2009, the Montreal Canadiens traded defensive prospect Ryan McDonough to the New York Rangers for Scott Gomez. Although these two players were the backbone of the deal, there were several more pieces involved, as Ryan McDonough was accompanied by Pavel Valentenko, Doug Yannick, and Christopher Higgins, while Scott Gomez was paired with Tom Pyatt and Michael Busto.
Welcome, GOAT fans. We are back in the goatrage for episode 13. I'm the big man, and I am joined, very special guest. I'm joined by former professional hockey player, one of the absolute North Burnaby GOATs, Michael Busto AKA Busti. Thanks for joining me, brother.
Thanks for having me, Loesch. I've been listening to the pod. It sounds like a lot of fun, and I'd love to visit that goatrage one day. I love the name of it.
Oh, man, I've been itching to have on, and absolutely, when you're back in town, you got to come to the goatrage. We have the best jerseys, memorabilia, artifacts. Like, look at what we got today. Rookie card, Jaromir Jagr. In honor of the absolute goal-scoring GOAT of all pro hockey, he just beat Gretzky.
Wow.
Nutty.
I got a Jagr story if you want it too for later.
Okay, remind me at the end.
Okay.
So before we get into it, Boosty, I gotta highlight what I'm wearing, and then I want to hear what the viewers want to know what you're wearing also. But I got the yellow jersey with the green trim, number 10, one of the absolute underrated GOATs of Brazilian soccer, Kaká.
Wow.
Kaká, it's a beauty. It's a little tight, but look at that.
Slim fit. Looks good on
you. Yeah. So what do you got wearing? A nice little.
I'm supporting the new town, Carolina Panthers t-shirt. Greg Olson, the tight end.
He's a legend.
Yeah, I always tend to lean the tight ends as my favorite players, but that's because I had a short stint playing football as tight end.
Well, you know what? You were a big dude growing up. Let's get into it, man. You played in the WHL at a very young age. You developed quickly. You were a massive man, an absolute phenom defenseman. I got to ask you this first, though. What was it like to have a mustache at 10 years old?
Well, I think the mustache really started to kick in at 12. And that's when you could start to see it through my cage. And I think at that time, it gave me a nice intimidation advantage when people looked at a guy who's 5'10" and 170 pounds and has a mustache growing through his cage. People give you a lot of space.
Absolutely. So you played when you started when you were 15.
Yeah, I got drafted at 14. Then I got to play 3 games at 15 when Moose Jaw was on their U.S. swing. They called me up because a couple of guys were away at World Juniors. So I got my first taste of the dub, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into at that time.
Yeah.
3 games. First game, police interrogated me after the game because the guy in front of me speared a fan because he got a beer thrown at him, and I was like, "Oh my God, what am I into right now?"
So you played for the Moose Jaw Warriors, Swift Current Broncos, and then you ended it off with the Kootenay Ice for 3 seasons. Where did that incident take place?
That was Moose Jaw. I was drafted by Moose Jaw, so I played my first about year and a half there.
Yeah.
And after that, US, instead of just sending me from, I think it was Portland where we finished to Vancouver, which would have been a shorter trip, they made me take the bus back from Portland all the way to Moose Jaw, sit in a hotel, then fly back from Regina to Vancouver. So I have a lot of hours spent on the bus.
Oh, and you know what? Probably some of the best memories on the bus, eh?
Yeah, the first trip I remember very clearly because I sat next to a rookie defenseman who was 6'9", 250 pounds. And I was a big kid. I was at that time 6'1", 210. and we had to double up. So it was an uncomfortable, I think it was well over 24-hour bus trip.
6'9". Was that Chara or what?
That was the era where they wanted all big guys. But this guy, yeah, I ended up playing as a D partner with him. But he started in Goon 2. He was that guy who
Oh,
couldn't speak English, the big Russian guy.
oh, we got to get that clip. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, like you said, the big men, they're kind of dwindling out of the NHL right now. So
Yeah, it's too fast for them, I guess. But I mean, some teams are going back to that big man mentality, and we'll see how it works, right?
I hope
It's a
so.
copycat league.
Yeah, exactly. You must have played. I love to ask this question. You must have played with a lot of studs. Who's the GOAT player you played with or against in the WHL years?
I think the best in the WHL, the best player I played with, probably Thomas Fleischman. He
Ooh,
was super skilled. Um, at that time, he dominated the league. He was one of the top. He was the top scorer in the league. I think he got in some injury problems when he was in the NHL, so it kind of derailed him. Injuries are tough. But when I was 18, there's a lockout in the NHL, so a lot of guys had to stay back, and Ryan Getzlav was one of them. And he was just, yeah, he is big, he was strong, he had just silky mitts,
for the
and
Hitmen, right?
yeah, Hitman. He was playing for the Hitman, so it was a lot of fun getting to play against those guys who should have been in the NHL at that time, or at least pushing for NHL spots. The league was really loaded with top end talent.
I asked you that because you played with a guy that I thought you would have mentioned, Nigel Dawes,
Yeah,
50
yeah,
goal
he was
guy.
good. He was just a natural goal scorer. Like he just scored at will.
Like they're
And
calling that guy the GOAT of the KHL.
yeah, well, actually, when I was with Montreal for a bit, he was with Hamilton, and he just couldn't take that next step to be a goal scorer in the NHL.
Yeah.
And it's such a fine line. I think he scored three years in the Western League of 50 goals, and like not a lot of guys can do that, especially in that old school era.
No, for sure. I remember him in his, you heard his name in the World Juniors often.
He was. I mean, he wasn't like too flashy or had super speed. He just knew what to score and
Yeah.
consistent, and like he just had a knack for it.
Yeah. Speaking of scoring, your last season with Kootenay, you had a beautiful campaign, 20 goals as a big, steady defenseman, over 60 points. And, I could imagine you got a lot of attention from the NHL that year.
Yeah, it was funny because going into that year, I was a little frustrated because I'd already played 4 years, and I'd been a number one D for I think the last 2 years with the Kootenay Ice, and I was getting passed over and getting invited to training camps and stuff like that. So I was like, "What am I doing?" type thing. And going into my 20-year-old year, ended up getting a tryout with Boston, and I was working full time construction, and I got this camp invite in like August. So I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go."
Yeah, of
So I ended up
course.
going. I'm like, "I'll go back to the Dub for one more year," and ended up having a big year and just enjoyed it. And if you saw my goals, like there were some nice goals, I'd say. Like
Yeah.
I joined the rush, and but a lot of ugly goals, like a lot just shots off of guys. I remember that year I scored, I think, 2 goals off of Carl Olsner.
Oh, also another Burnaby goat that we're looking like we would love to have him on the pod.
Yeah,
I,
we'd
I
have
would
to
love
ask him.
I would love to have Alsner, you, and the big man in the goat rush.
Oh, it'd be nice. That'd be a good session. I think. Also, I'd have to give Olsner the gears though, because when I was 20 in playoffs, we collided knee to knee, and he tore my MCL, ending my Western League career. And I always give it to him when I see him. I'm like, "Oh, look
I
what you
do.
did to my career."
Oh my gosh, I do remember that actually. Didn't you bust your bicep too?
Yeah, it was my second year pro. I tore my tricep tendon.
Okay. Okay, so you had that beautiful year, 20-year-old year. What was it like to sign that contract with the New York Rangers? Beautiful signing bonus.
Yeah, it was I had been talking to a few teams about a contract, and it's funny because I had a friend who was in the same position as me. We're both defensemen looking for contracts. I had got an offer from Nashville, I think Montreal and Dallas. And then I'm like, this wasn't the offer I was expecting, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Not to sound cocky, but I'd put up a huge year. I was a first team All Star in the Western League. So I talked to my buddies, like, yeah, I just turned down a contract with the Rangers. I'm like, really? So I call my agent. I'm like, hey, they're looking for a right-handed D. My buddy just turned down the contract. All of a sudden, within like 3 days, um, they started chatting with my agent. And then after our playoffs, I had torn my MCL, so they flew me out to New York. And they were in playoffs playing against, I think, the Thrashers. So it was my first kind of taste coming from Cranbrook, going to New York. You get picked up in a limo. Limo takes you to this nice hotel right across from MSG. And they took me to a game the first night. And at that game, I remember sitting next to one of their PR guys, and right next to me was Pierre McGuire. And he wasn't working that night, but he has a big Stanley Cup ring, walking around with his shoulders out.
Yeah, yeah.
But they just wanted to check out my knee, make sure it's okay. And it was good enough to sign, which was I was happy with, because after you hurt yourself, you never know what teams are going to think. So I was pretty happy to get kind of the contract I wanted, and being with New York was pretty surreal.
Yeah.
Just a lot of big names coming from that era, and Jagr was there at that time too.
Okay, speaking of Jagr, why don't you get into Jagr right now? You mentioned that story you had.
Yeah, so Jagr had was retiring before I went to camp, and they posted. I remember looking online. They posted the roster, and Jagr, just a legend, is just retired from playing there, and they had the camp roster posted and the numbers of the jerseys, and I was supposed to wear number 68. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, why would you put me in 68? Like, get rid of that number.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to camp, and I didn't have to wear 68, but I was feeling like a lot of pressure. Just having to wear that number would have been, one of the best players ever wearing it, and then some guy that signed as a free agent, not even drafted. So I was a little nervous walking into that camp.
Oh man, that's awesome. You're talking about a top 3 GOAT of hockey right there.
Yeah. So I ended up coaching with a guy who coached Jagr in Pittsburgh, and he told me a funny story. It was the era that they didn't have to wear helmets for practices or even games, really. And he tried to make a rule to his team. He's like, hey, everyone's got to wear helmets to practice. Like, I want to practice intense. I don't want guys getting hurt.
Yeah.
Jagr wouldn't do it. He just wanted to do his own thing. So finally he kicks Jagr out of practice, and he says, put on a helmet or you're done. And Jagr comes back 20 minutes later wearing a Viking helmet.
Bicycle.
A Viking.
Oh, Viking.
A Viking.
Oh.
Yeah. So he did practice in a Viking helmet.
Oh.
That's the story. He had some good stories, that guy.
Oh man, that's awesome. Oh, I love Jagr, man. Holy, he's still kicking at 50.
Yeah, I can't
50 in Kladno there.
Yeah.
So one of the highlights, Busti, this episode's called The Trade.
Yeah.
You were involved in an absolute blockbuster trade. I got to say this, Mike Milbury, former GM of the New York Islanders, he was saying it was one of the worst trades of all time of hockey. But I don't know what he's saying. He's ranked the worst GM, so he shouldn't talk.
Yeah, worst GM of all time.
Absolutely. But we need to know who was involved in this trade. And I even heard you once saying, hey, I want to retire in peace, buddy, to one of your buddies one time.
So in that trade was from New York to Montreal was Scott Gomez was the main part of the deal. And then me and Tom Pyatt at the time was like, we'd played in the coast a bit together. Yeah. He was an up and down coast A guy, like good player. Obviously played some NHL time too. Yeah. But we were just kind of toss-ins. And going from Montreal to New York was Ryan McDonough, who was playing college at the time, who was an all-star defenseman, and he's unreal. And then Doug Janik, I think Pavel Valentenko, and then I think Chris Higgins as well. So a lot went one way, and then once Gomez didn't really produce the way they wanted, that trade got some bad press, which my name was tossed in quite frequently. And the last time it was, I've noticed it kind of every time McDonough's in the playoffs, they kind of throw in that trade. So, I'll see my name sometimes thrown across whatever, TSN and I'll be like, oh, okay. And then one time I was in Mexico. I didn't even, my contract was over and I'd been playing I'd finished a year in Vegas. And then your last guest, one of your last guests there, Ned Lukasovic, sends me a text message because they're talking about how bad that trade was. And I'm like, and I guess Ned's like, oh, buddy, you're trending on Twitter. I'm like, no way. Then I'm like, why don't they just let me retire in peace? Like, because I was playing in the coast. I wasn't pursuing the NHL after that, right?
Yeah, whatever, man. I would love to be a part of that trade. That's a cool story.
It's funny, but with my last name and people not knowing how to pronounce Busto, say Busto a lot. So
that's true.
They refer to that trade as a big Busto. So that pisses me off.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna call that this episode that.
The Busto? Oh, great.
I'm kidding.
We're retrending on Twitter again.
I'm kidding, brother. But that's a good one, man. But you wanted to continue, like you said, you played in Vegas after. Man, everyone's played in Vegas. Nucci, Teddy.
Yeah.
Man, how do you guys play there?
So Teddy got me to Vegas. He was really close with the coach at the time. He had put in a good word, and he ended up getting me there one year. We had an awesome group of guys, and we ended up going to the Kelly Cup finals. And it was good because we didn't have an affiliate, so guys weren't bumping around too much. The guys that wanted to be there were there, so we had a close group of guys. And obviously, like playing in Vegas, like in the East Coast League and most hockey leagues, you'll have random days off. Like you'll have a Tuesday off or a Wednesday, and then you'll practice Thursday, Friday, and play Saturday, Sunday. It just changes from week to week. So if you're in certain towns, like if your Tuesday's your night off, then you're going out, you're hanging out Monday nights, and there's not much going on, especially if you're a young and single guy.
Yeah.
But in Vegas, it's a different story. Like any day of the week, there's something going on.
We're talking about one of the GOAT cities on the planet here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I remember, so for Finucci, he ended up playing there too.
Yeah.
We were in Alaska, and my coach, he was watching the game, Alaska Fairbanks Cup, whatever they had there, the Alaska versus Alaska. And I wanted to get Finucci into our team. So I remember I was just telling all the boys, I'm like, hey, really pump up whatever number it was. I'm like, pump up that guy. Say we need a guy like that.
Yeah.
So we're just chatting, making sure the coach can hear. And he's like, the coach after's like, yeah, that Finucci guy's not bad. Ends up signing him to a PTO after, and he brought Finucci down for a little bit. And I think I was injured for a bit, so me and Finucci got to go out a time or two before he got sent back to school. And one night we're sitting next to the Jersey Shore crew, and you just see a lot of people you run into over there, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's a blast. It's a blast, man. I know
we got to be careful.
We went once.
Like, if you screw up, like if you don't show up to practice on time, or if you miss a practice because you had a crazy night out, you're out of there. So you had to really kind of manage what you were doing.
Yeah, you got to be a pro like you guys are, for sure. So, Busti, you wanted to continue living the dream. You took your talents, like King James says, to Europe. Speaking of King James, tonight he might break the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record. It might change some people's decision on who the GOAT is, but we'll see.
Yeah, I wish I had a better opinion on that. I like basketball, but I mean, he's a phenomenal. Like doing what he's doing at his age too. You're like, how on earth is a guy like that this good for so long?
Yeah, for sure. So you went to Europe. Most notably, you had a little stint in Bolzano. But then you spent 5 seasons in France. Can you please tell me what is it? Angers?
Angers.
Oh, obviously Angers
Yeah.
of the Ligue Magnus.
The League Magnus. Yeah.
League Magnus, very cool. How the hell did you end up there?
So I got recruited by a coach that had coached against me in the Western League, and he was getting his first, I think it was his first head coach job over there. So he ended up bringing a ton of Western Canadian guys in there because he wanted to do a job.
Remind me of his name. I remember him.
Jay Verdi.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in the NHL, I believe, right now. I think he's an assistant with Detroit.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome coach, awesome guy. Like the way he coached, his personality, it's just a perfect. It was a perfect fit for me, and you knew the guy was going to be a great coach.
Yeah.
He brought me in there. The way he sold it is like I'd gotten a lot of injuries, like you mentioned. I had concussions, tore my tricep, major knee surgery. So like, and then even that year in Vegas, my knees were beaten down. Like I tore my PCL. I had another concussion that year. So I was like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. So I let the guy know exactly how I was feeling. And he's like, Busto, he's like, come over here. Lifestyle's great. You know, after the game, we drink wine, we eat well.
That's
So I was
awesome.
already kind of getting sold. And he's like, and then there's the schedule. You don't play more than 30 games.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I'm like,
great.
okay, I'll go for sure then. Like, why not go to Europe and play a little longer? And when I got there, the management was good to me for the most part. Outside of some late paychecks we'd receive, I was willing to put up with that.
Yeah.
But the French guys on the team were phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you're around all Western. You're around like I think there was 7 of us Westerners who ended up playing there that year. And then the next year, like Jeff May, Nolan Joseph White, like all these ex-Vegas guys came, Josh London. So it's almost like you're home, but traveling Europe with your buddies for over 5 years.
Joseph White, former Langley chief with me.
Yeah.
Missed that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he just got married.
Yeah. What about any memorable stories in France? There's got to be a few.
Oh yeah, I mean, we won the French Cup there.
Yeah.
It's like this tournament you play against every league, and you only have to win 5 games. But when you win it, there's a game in Paris, and it's sold out. I think there's 14,000 people. It feels like an NHL game. And we ended up winning. Lost my first year. We won the second year. It was the first time they won in a while. So the way you celebrate, like they celebrate hard. Like we won this thing, we celebrated hard that day, obviously, and then they just celebrated this cup and they brought it everywhere in town for over the next 2 months. Like we had regular season games going on, but we're drinking beers at volleyball games and the soccer matches. Like everywhere we took this thing was like another party. So that was a lot of fun. And it was just a good group of guys.
Yeah. Did you get a little taste of coaching there also?
Yeah, so the one year we just had a terrible coach.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what he was doing. Like, I don't know how he was a coach, but somehow they hired him.
Yeah.
He was doing a terrible job. And I was part of the leadership group at that time. And we sat down with management and we're like, we can't do this with this guy. He couldn't manage the bench. The things he would say to the players on the team it was strange. It wasn't like a leader of the team like the coach should be.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we got him kind of. Our assistant coach at the time was an ex-player. He didn't want to be a head coach. I grabbed him one day. I said, "Hey, Simone, like, I'll help you do everything." Like, I was by myself at the time, so I had a lot of free time during the day. I said, "I'll do video with you. We'll do planning." So that was kind of the first time I got involved in that side. And I enjoyed it. So, and we won the French Cup. We went to the finals of the league. So it was a pretty successful team. But that was the first time I got to really like look at video in terms of coaching and how to manage the group and what you needed to do to prepare before a game.
Yeah. So that definitely influenced you to continue. And then you found yourself going across the world to Korea. Awesome. What led you there? That must have been quite the experience there.
Yeah, when I had retired, Angers had offered me the head coach job, but at that time, it just wasn't something I could really do. So I had recommended Brennan Sony for the job, and he's a BC guy. He was coaching with the Everett Silvertips as an assistant, but was looking to move on in the head coach position.
I'm going to stop you there. Did he play for the Calgary Hitmen? Because
Uh,
there's a clip of
that was
you
his
fighting a
brother.
Sone. We have that clip. We're going to
Oh
play
yeah, that
that.
was his brother.
Yeah, okay. Nice little Tilly in the behind the net there.
Yeah, so that was a
Yeah,
line brawl in playoffs.
yeah,
A lot
yeah,
of line brawls in my Western League career, but yeah, I recommend this guy. He did a
yeah,
good job. They liked him, so he was kind of thankful for that. And then when I was able to get into coaching and looking to get in,
yeah,
I reached out to him. He recommended me to go to Korea with Kevin Constantine, who's an
yeah.
amazing coach who I got to work with.
That
But
legend.
I was lucky that his assistant had left and he couldn't find anyone that wanted to go to Korea for some reason.
Yeah, yeah,
So I was able to make that move. It's coaching with that guy is, like the amount of work the guy puts in is it's crazy. And it was like an edge. I would have done the job probably for not a ton of money just to
yeah.
get that education on what he knows.
Mm-hmm.
But the salary ended up being really good, and the Korean hockey was good, and I got to work with this genius coach who sees the game so well, and he's been doing it for so many years. Who really pushed me like to be a better coach and learn the game quickly as a coach. Right, I
Yeah.
thought I could always do it, but I didn't have any clue that there was that much that went into it. So it kind of set me up pretty well for what I'm doing now.
Awesome. Um, I'm so curious. On Goat Radio, we often talk about food. We love topics of food. What were your players in Korea eating for pregame? Like Korean barbecue or?
Oh, they love rice. Like
Yeah,
breakfast,
yeah,
pregame, they needed some type of rice dish.
yeah.
They had this stinky bean that they put on top, but it looked like it was wrapped in cheese. So I'm like, maybe I'll try this one day. This thing's whatever it was stunk so bad I could never touch it ever again.
Yeah,
But like I'm telling you, I'd played in the Western League, the East Coast. I'd been up in the AHL. I'd been in NHL camps for like long periods of time. Nowhere on earth I had seen anyone be treated so well in my life. Like these guys
oh,
were so spoiled. The
oh, nice.
spreads on the road were phenomenal. Um, you ate like an absolute king. And when you're a player, like, yeah, you just wolf it down, go play play
Hmm.
25 minutes a game, burn it off. As a coach, you're like, oh man, it's so good. Like
Yeah, yeah.
packing it on. So the second year I figured out I got to start working out more. But like I'd never been treated so well in my life. Korean life, the apartment they give you it was amazing. Like for me,
Yeah.
3-bedroom apartment, brand new. They give you a vehicle. They fill your car up with gas, which they don't even tell you in your contract. They give you a cell phone. They gave me this laptop I'm on currently, and they pay you on time or early. Like the bonuses were like huge bonuses for winning the league and making
Yeah.
playoffs. It was just I was so surprised, and the people are so nice.
Oh, yeah.
And coaching the Korean players, like they're so studious. Like they want to listen, they want to learn. They don't
Yeah.
talk back, like nothing like that, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I also got it like our team was so stacked, our budget was so big. We had signed guys like I know you mentioned on your podcast, Alexander Frolov was on the team.
I remember that. He was a big
Simone
dude,
Denis,
right?
Simone Denis was on
Simone.
the team. Like we had
Yeah.
just had like 6, 7 North American guys with AHL experience. Matt Murley from Spittin' Chicklets was on the team. Like as
Oh,
an older guy, like he played with Mario and Sid both. So like coaching these guys was pretty difficult because
yeah.
31 years old, coaching a
Absolutely.
guy. Frolov's an NHL All Star. So
Yeah, I wonder, did he actually like was he like, come on, man, get out of my face? Or was he a
no,
humble guy, eh?
awesome guy. Like
Oh,
was
good.
kind of to himself, but like I like Kevin Constantine was so intense. I had to do individual video with everyone before every game. So I had to show him a couple clips. And one day I had to tell him he has to block shots. Alex Frolov is 38 at the time. Like he's millions of dollars. Like in Russia, he's dating celebs and like
Yeah.
a god over there.
Yeah.
I'm telling the guy to block shots in Korea. So that next game, he actually blocks a shot. He looks at the bench and he like does make sure because we take the stats for everything.
Yeah.
Making sure we take the stat. He makes a little sign and
Yeah.
such a good guy.
Oh man, that's good to hear. Well, Busti, man, what a cool global career you had, man, and I applaud it. So good job, and I you're continuing to give back and be in the game you love, and good to you.
Thanks.
We're gonna have some fun right now, man. Our first segment ever. We're doing GOAT Rapid Fire. So give me your choice, your pick. You can also say next question, whatever you want, okay? But we're going to be a little quick here, okay?
Nice.
This is going to be fun. Here we go. Crosby or Ovi?
Crosby.
Hedman or Chara?
Wow. Chara.
Ooh. Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi. Recent change after the World Cup.
Okay. So you were Cristiano.
I was probably leaning to Ronaldo before, but now I'm
okay. Interesting. King James or Jordan?
I'll go Jordan.
Okay. What if King James beats the record tonight? Does that change?
No. He was in the prime of when I was a basketball fan, so
yeah.
You can't leave that. Space Jam. Way better than Space Jam too.
Fair enough. Gronk or Kelsey?
Gronk. Style points for Gronk.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, a little bit of Super Bowl. Chiefs or Eagles?
Not a big football guy, as Vacation Steve knows. I get punted around the fantasy, but
yeah,
I'll go Eagles.
Eagles, yeah. I think Vacation's going with Eagles, even though he's saying Mahomes is the GOAT. I don't know. Vacation Steve, the guru, the fantasy guru. Because you're a resident in the States right now, Trump or Biden?
Passing on that one for sure.
Good answer. Good answer. Djokovic or Nadal?
I gotta support my Serb family. I'll have to go Djokovic.
Is that the truth?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Khabib or GSP?
GSP.
Yeah,
I would love to see them fight, but I think GSP, he's Canadian too. I can't knock a Canadian guy like that.
Yeah, and he's had the longer reign. I agree. Pizza or sushi?
So I'll go sushi.
Ooh. How's
Italian,
the sushi? Go ahead.
Weird to pick an Italian that goes with sushi, right?
Yeah, for sure. Is the sushi good where you are right now?
There's a couple good places, but you got to pay for it, right? And you could get anything you pay for, right?
Yeah. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
I got to say this. I'm finding a trend here. When someone likes Michael Jordan, they're always picking Coke.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. That is everyone I ask. I don't know what it is, but that's the trend.
So what do you drink? Jack and?
I don't drink any colas.
Oh, if you did, like, what does everyone drink? Jack and what? Jack and Pepsi? Rum and Pepsi?
Yeah.
That's the only reason. I think if I do have a cocktail, Cokes. I usually don't drink too many Cokes.
I know, but how do you know it's a Coke or Pepsi if you're getting it brought to you?
Well, usually you order the Captain Coke or something like that back in the day.
Okay, yeah, we'll move on. So you like Coke. Okay, this one, the vocal trinity. Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, or Mariah Carey?
I'll go Whitney Houston.
Ooh.
Just for that one song. I don't even know the name of it, but
can we get a verse?
No chance. Like,
is it the I Want to Dance with Somebody?
No, not that one.
Or is it yeah,
that one. That's
that one.
Yeah.
That one's, yeah, this is legendary.
Even when people do that on The Voice, I still get chills, right?
Absolutely. Tupac or Biggie?
Biggie.
Ooh, East Coast.
Yeah, Hypnotized. It's too good.
Okay. Biggest goon you played?
It's a lot of them, but I'll give you one that I fought was DJ King.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, if you end up being a fighter for a bit for St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he the animal or what?
Oh, I had to fight him. Well, it was my draft year, and he grabbed me. He's like, "If you want to fight someone, fight me." So I'm
Yeah.
like, "Whatever, I gotta fight him." Like, I don't want to look like a wimp in my draft year.
Yeah.
So I draw my gloves and I land the first two, and then all of a sudden he backs up and he palms my helmet off my head. I'm like, "How big is this guy's hands?"
Oh man, some mitts.
So he starts pummeling me, and I'm like, "Okay, get knocked out right now, or just take a dive." So I threw my shots, and
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
like,
good.
I'm not going to get knocked out here. So
And you did that.
down.
You did the kind of the fake
No,
slipperoo.
I did that. Yeah, I got some weight to me, so I grab on and I just lean
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Continuing. What was your weirdest pregame ritual?
Weirdest pregame. Man, it's been a while. I think if you asked my teammates, I'd always have to take a shit at a weird time, like right after a warm up or something.
Nice. Okay. The better hockey market, Korea or Carolina? And just the background, you're in Carolina right now for the viewers. Yeah. And what are you doing there?
Yeah, I coach hockey. I do private development, and a group of us are starting a hockey academy that starts up in next August. Southern Prospects Hockey Academy starts up. A little plug.
Perfect. You got to hand him some gift bags, all the players, with a nice Goat Radio t-shirt.
For sure.
Cards, because we're going global.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna jump on your coattails for a ride, just be a special guest once in a while.
You could be a Goat co-host, man.
But yeah, I think the market, Korea was great to coach in, but they got no fans. So
yeah,
Carolina, I know the local teams here like Raleigh, Carolina Hurricanes, they get good fans, and same with the AHL team local, the Charlotte Checkers. It's a good turnout. Guys love to play here, so but just based on fans here.
Awesome. By the way, how popular is Rod the Bod?
Rod the Bod. I know in Raleigh, which is about 2 hours away.
Rod Brindamore for the viewers who don't know that nickname.
Yeah, he's pretty popular over there.
Yeah,
I'm about 2 hours away from there.
Okay.
I know he's got a couple young kids that are pretty good at hockey that are coming up too.
Okay, cool. One more question. What did you buy first when you got your NHL signing bonus?
Probably bought a MacBook computer, but I bought a bunch of dumb stuff. Like you could talk to Teddy. Yeah. Every night out, we'd have a new stupid T-shirt from remember all those T-shirts like Ed Hardy and
Christian Audige.
What a waste of money.
Christian Audige with the literal, there was necklaces on them and all this fiasco.
Yeah, but my biggest purchase was I got a Cadillac CTS.
There you go.
Black 20s and brand new. So it was a nice car. I got pulled over all the time when I drove it back to Vancouver. So
what about those two Bulldogs?
Bulldogs were a good purchase. They were pretty cheap.
They were
compared to the Cadillac, but yeah, they lasted a long time, 12 years. I bought one of them. Steve bought the other one, my bro.
Yeah. Awesome. Busti, pleasure, man. That was fun.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I cannot wait till you come back here, get you in the Goat Raj. We talk goats. There's nothing quite like it.
I can't wait to get back. I think I'll be back in probably June, end of June.
Yeah.
When the sun's out.
Yeah, it's like a windstorm here in Vancouver. I was actually worried I wasn't gonna get Wi-Fi and I couldn't do this pod tonight, but it turned out great. Nice. Episode 13, Busti one of the absolute North Burnaby goats. Thank you, my brother, for joining me today, man.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. This is the greatest of all time podcast show, Goat Radio. We'll see you very soon. Thank you.
Going in hard. There's going to be a penalty on the play. Oh, this game could get a little testy here. Busto and Sawney lining each other up. And we may have more than one going on. We got a line brawl brewing here. If Gillen doesn't get broken up at the line, and Gillen wants to get at Weens way out at center. The referee, you can see it now, keeping these two apart. And what a job the referee is doing.
And this time Gillen, I don't believe, has any tape on his hand.
You know what? That's as good a job of a referee preventing a line brawl that you'll ever see. Thiessen came out and he had to work it like you wouldn't believe to keep those guys from brawling. And the last thing anybody wants really is a 5-on-5.
I completely agree. Sometimes the referees don't get enough credit for what happened. You know, the amazing thing about this is all of those were potential fights, and if I'm not mistaken, there's only one that actually takes place, maybe two, but certainly one behind the net, and that was it. Let's have a look. Let's see what we can look at how quickly is that Andy Thiessen getting in there. He says, "No way, get out of here. I'm not going to let it happen." Weens, Gillen, they went at it here, trying to go at it.
Look at him warn Gillen. No. And
look at it.
I'll tell you, and it kept going too. I mean, he really did a nice job, and that's a good look from our truck to show and illustrate, you know, that the referee sometimes can do more than just assess penalties. He can really keep a lid on things.
This is what draws the penalty right there as he's taken to the ice. Now the play goes into the corner. Follow it up with Busto in the corner, and that's when kind of all heck breaks loose. There's a penalty. Greenan helps Busto out. They figure that he's running into the goaltender. I'm sure that's what precipitated all of this. And as I said, I think there was really only one actual fight take place in all of that.